Well, it's such an amazing pleasure and privilege to welcome you here, Golijan.
Thank you.
You know, usually when people think of Iran, the images of people who come here are so black and white. Yes. It is all sort of black and white, and so the images are so confiscated and reduced, you know. So you imagine that all Iran is sort of reduced in portrait of Mr. Ahmadinejad, our lately beloved president, and the present one. And you know, once you read this book, one of the things about Pomegranate Lady that I loved was that as soon as you open the pages of the book, you know, colors and images and voices just jump out of the book, you know, and then they present to you that other hidden, invisible Iran, and she is the person who restores the real Iran, who liberates it and brings it out. So welcome, Golijan. This city really needs your presence. Okay. Now, my first question, I just wanted to ask you both about the stories, but also about your own experiences in Iran, because Goli is one of the few people who also has she just came back from Iran, and she just came back from teaching in Iran. And one of my best experiences in Iran was the young people. And you know, the way when they could not be connected to the world, they connected to it through their golden emissaries, through the books. The Iranian, I think the Iranian youth here. So I thought that you, as the golden emissary of the Iranian people, can tell us a little bit about what that experience was of teaching this generation of Iranians.
When I was in Tehran, I met this lady in a Japanese embassy, and she said that she has really she's the head of this private center where they have film. For example, Kiarostami is teaching the cinema, and good names, you know, good names that I know them from before, you know. One is teaching philosophy, and one is teaching, they have classes especially for theater and different. And she asked me that it would be so nice if I could come and stay in Iran at least for one term to teach. Well, I said that before the revolution, I was at Tehran University. You know, I was teaching. I was not a professor, but with a contract, I was teaching a course called Archetypal Patterns and Symbols in Literature, and any sort of Iranian literature, or in art, or in music, or anything that has to do with unconscious and symbols that they come, especially Jungian interpretations of myths and symbols and archetypes. So, but I said, I don't know, would they be interested? She said, anything they are interested, especially when I just put your name, they run and they come. So it was like that. It was, I had 40 students right away. There were more, but I couldn't, you know, handle more than, you know, one class. And they were all different, you know, people in my class, and I noticed this thirst really for any subject to come and learn, because at the university, I don't know what they teach, you know, whatever they teach is not much.
There are one or two people here who can tell you what they
Yeah. And everything is forbidden. So any class, you know, that they offer, and it's very expensive. Tuition was expensive, really, and they don't give any degree or anything. They just, you know, come to learn. So, and I went and I saw that it's a lovely place, even near uptown. It was not far from my house, and it was a small garden with a small cafe, you know, in a corner. And I saw the students, boys and girls, of course, so free, you know, talking together, sitting, having coffee, chatting, and nobody. It's just the only difference really was with any free university that I was in America, you know, myself, was that the girls anyway had something, you know, over their head, something very light, you know. They usually put something these girls were very modest, but the other ones who are to come to a cafe and restaurant you meet, they are, very jazzy, and they put something on their head, and, something just the back of their head, with this much hair, of course, out, not a chignon, and a lot of makeup and tight vest and tight, blue jean and a lot of makeup, I don't know where they get all these eyebrows, they're natural. Once I went to just polish my nails, and I saw this girl standing there, and she was what can I say? A lot of hair, a lot of eyebrows, a lot of eyelashes, a lot of lips, a lot of teeth, And I saw my reflection in the mirror, and I was so pale, hardly I could see myself. And she was standing there in a few lines, very, very miserable. Anyway, but talking now back to students, the girls and boys were lovely. The thing is that I wanted, because I'm writing few stories now about the characters are young boys and girls, and I wanted to know them, really know them, because so far my stories that I get from Iran are like Pomegranate Lady or the Gentleman Thief, who are the real ones, but not the young person in my books, and I wanted to talk to them. So I really started every day to have coffee with them, to see them and to talk with them, and I learned that how much they're free-minded, they're happy. And the thing is, I asked them, as for every one of them, do you want to go abroad? Do you want to leave Iran? And they said, most of them said no. And they were most of them were in theater classes, and they wanted to become actor and play either in cinema, in film, or theater. Tehran, there was a fever of theater and plays. Every single night of the week there was some new play, which I saw few of them. There was even an opera, and I said, my God, how can it be? Because women usually don't sing, or even if they sing, it has to be, their voice has to be lower than men, or the man who's singing. But here in the opera, the woman, was absolutely, her voice was dominating the stage, and she was, singing. But of course, they were a group that they had come from Vienna, Iranian, that they studied there, but somehow they got the permission. I don't know. It was, for me, a mystery how they got the permission to sing. And this was a Puccini. Puccini, it was a opera by Puccini. It was nice. The voices were nice. But you should see that it was expensive, 150,000 tuman a ticket. And it was so crowded. It was hardly, a place. And they were all young people who, as if it's the first time this experience of seeing an opera. Of course, they see it, they're now we are connected to the world. We have this, they see it in television, they see in everything. But anyway, for them to see a real opera on the stage was something, unbelievable, and it really touched me how happy they were, how excited they were. My students were, as I can say, normal students that wanted absolutely to become an actor in theater, and they didn't want to go out abroad because they said that why should we go to, for example, to France, to Paris? First of all, we don't speak French, we don't speak Italian because it's easy to get the visa. We don't have enough money, and we don't, and without money, it's very hard to live outside of Iran. We have our family here, we have our friends here. No, we have our life here, and we have to stay here, and whatever is, if there is any change, we have to do it here. These students were really lovely ones, and normal, I should say. They dressed, in a very normal way, like you, But then there is an another, category of young people. Michael Jackson wants, really, and or I call them pineapple generation, because especially boys, their hair is, they have a special haircut. They love it. The hair in the middle, they push it up just in the middle, and with some, I don't know, fixator or fish, I don't know how. It stands completely, just as if you have put a pineapple in the middle of your head, and the rest of it, they make it, very Spanish one, and the long ones, And the son of our guardian, my guardian in our house, which comes from a very low family, but father and mother are so, I don't know, open-minded, because he had long, extremely long hair, and he would just do 100 things with his hair, and he would wear earring and a chain, and a lot of these boys, they pluck their eyebrows. 9 out of 10, they have operated their nose, and they had a lot of everything, chain and here, belt, chain. One of them, I was looking at one of them, and he started to laugh because he saw the expression on my face, something that I don't even see the boys. I live in Paris, and I don't see, young boys, maybe punk. They're punks, yes, but they're punks maybe, or Michael Jackson. And this boy is a boy of our guardian. The mother said he goes to the university, he studies. But when he's in these 2 small rooms, he plays Michael Jackson and he dances like Michael Jackson. And he imitates the dance of Michael Jackson. So they're very, mixed, different kids. And the girls, you should see them, ooh, la la, oh. And then, of course, there is another group, another category. I didn't have the chance to meet or get close to them. Those are the real, boys or girls who are mostly political minded, who are activists, who are always in trouble, who fight somehow, and they're completely different. Maybe they are from religious families, but against the government. They're not fundamentalists at all, but still, or completely another group of youth that I didn't have the chance to meet them closely, but I would love to. So we cannot say that all of them are like that, but Iran is an ocean of contradiction. You cannot define it. Define the people, in one chapter. There's so much difference, between different groups of Iranian society. Azar Jun, you want to ask me a question? Sorry.
No, this is your night.
No, but still, you have
I
to
was
control
listening to
me.
you and
You're
I'm
here
forgetting about the
no, you're here
questions,
to control me. Otherwise, I go forget.
I should have learned that a long time ago. I was listening to you, and I was thinking that everyone thinks that about Iran, and they reduce it to politics, while the way people have opened ways and the way people have struggled, in fact, has been an existential struggle. And this is what I see in your stories, actually from pre-revolution, from your first selections of short stories, I Too Am Che Guevara, it was called, to the present. You have characters that are dealing with horrendous tragedies that is imposed on them both by life or by politics or by their own personal, and they resist it through understanding this absurdity and through trying to retrieve their own dignity, individual dignity, so they do not allow one voice to define them. And that is why I wanted to come to your stories. And the first story I was thinking was the title of your first story, Gentleman Thief. it is about a gentleman thief. And I thought that it would be interesting for you to tell us, first of all, what does that mean? And secondly, was this story really based on something real? Is this one of those absurdities that we
Yes.
have
Yeah.
created in the past 30 years?
Yes. No, really, there is a new, after the revolution, after 34 years of revolution, actually there are new categories of thieves, even, of people, of who are completely in contradiction with standards that we used to have. Because actually Tehran or Iran is an ocean of contradiction, an ocean. And when I go to Iran, I always, I found this situation that are surreal and Kafkaesque at the same time, and absurd, and it becomes comic in a way. It always reminds me of the book of Gogol, The Dead Souls, The Dead Souls is a very, funny book at the same time, but it shows the real characters of the Russian, and by exaggeration, by, showing that a lot of passion, in each character. So in Iran, whenever I go, actually right away, I meet someone, it's so strange to me, I put him in the waiting room of my head, and I just say, just wait till your turn comes and we'll go to a story. And all these characters that are even Pomegranate Lady or Gentleman Thief, they're real. I met them, myself. So Gentleman Thief is a product of the revolution. They're not thief. Even in my story, he says, when he's talking to the grandmother, says that, don't insult me, please. Don't talk to me this way, and I don't like it. And the grandmother says, ho, 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 have you ever seen a thief? Says, I don't like it. Be polite to me. And and then he says that, no, I'm not a thief. I'm a math teacher out of work. I don't have any money. But I have come to take, for example, this lamp or this something which is there. She has a lot of antiques. And when I have money, I bring it back. And the grandmother says, oh, who cares? Listen to him. What a thief. What a liar. He says, no, I told you not to insult me. First of all, I'm not used to be insulted, So he really actually is a gentleman, but at the same time, he's a thief. And in the story, you will see that how really, it's funny because there is a conversation between him and the grandmother, which it is a true story anyway, I know it. It's just that every time he wants to take something, the grandmother says, oh, no, not that. You are over my dead body. That belongs to my daughter. Then he says, okay, don't get angry. How about this lamp? And he says, this lamp, oh, what a good taste he has. No. That is impossible. So this goes on till morning. So the daughter is this grandmother. The man is a thief. He's not a dealer. So let him take this. How about this little carpet? He says, grandmother says, oh, no, not that. So anyway, so this goes on and on and on, and then I don't tell you the end. You have to read it yourself. And it is true. And one more example of this, which is really, it happened to my uncle. My uncle was extremely scared of thieves and said that, I don't care if they come take the carpets or anything. And of course the carpet was very, used. But anything. But not to, do anything to me, not even touch me. So actually one night, a gentleman thief, exactly, he comes to take something. And because he's not expert, as soon as, the uncle hears the door, he just pretends that he's dead, He doesn't move, closed eyes, nothing. So when the gentleman thief comes, and then suddenly, he doesn't see the big lamp, and the lamp falls down and makes a huge big nose, And he looks at the uncle and says that he doesn't even move, nothing. So he starts, and then he says, why is it he doesn't move? Maybe he had a heart attack. Let me go. And he comes and stands by him and looks at him, takes the hand holds down. No, he's really dead. He puts his ear on his chest and hears boom, 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 boom. His heart beating, and then he says suddenly, you're a thief or a doctor, leave me alone. And then the thief gets so angry and says that, what is this? It's not fair what you did to me. I almost had a heart attack. Why you do that to me? So he says that, why are you doing this thing to me? I said, oh. And both of them are so scared. So the thief says, okay, let me go and make a tea or something. So both of us can drink and at least, never do that to anyone. So he goes and he makes a tea and he comes and he says, uncle says, now that you're here, would you mind to go and buy bread? And so we can have breakfast. And he says, okay. And then I have money, he says. At least for bread, I have money. So he goes and buys bread and there's a cheese and comes back and they sit and they have breakfast and they become real friends, And he says, no, I don't want this carpet anyway, It's okay, but you live alone. And then who buys bread for you? Who does your, things, errands? And he says, nobody. And he says, okay, I'll do it. I'll come. You pay me something whenever. And now they're very good friends, And then they have tea and in the morning. So these are, you don't find them anywhere, these gentlemen thieves,
No, I think it is all about the dignity of individuals that
Right.
under very adverse conditions, both the resilience and at the same time finding ways to keep their
Dignity, yes, sure.
And talking about that, I was going to ask you, you mentioned Pomegranate Lady, and her voice keeps ringing in my ears, calling you actually. Right?
Right.
Is that a real story as well?
Yes, absolutely.
Dear lady. And it is a very funny story.
Hanım Can on Persian. Okay.
But it is also such a heart-breaking story. And so you have these tragedies which you subvert. So you're in fact subverting the tragedy of the reality that these people are facing by showing their humanity and their absurdity. So Pomegranate Lady is really a very dislocated and tragic lady.
In this revolution, mothers suffered a lot. Parents, I must say, suffered a lot because children left, the young ones all left, and they couldn't take the parents with them. And so they were left behind, but it was so difficult for them. But families from the city who could afford, they would just go and see their children. But the thing is, I have a story, it's called A House in the Sky, and this book is also published, A Mansion in the Sky, and it's about a mother. First it was the flying mothers who would go to so many different destinations to see their children. And I knew them personally. This woman who, for example, had a son in Paris, so she came to stay with the son. But the son had a small apartment and was married to a French woman and had children, and she was a burden, and she could feel it, really. And she had no house in Tehran. She had sold her house and given actually the money to the children, so they could live. And so they would send this person, this mother, I know her. The son sent her to the daughter in London. Daughter was also married to an Englishman, but he was a gentleman. But the mother also, they had a big dog, and for her, she first of all feared the dog, and at the same time she would pray, and with the dog in the same room, it was impossible for her to pray. So she suffered very much with the daughter, and daughter also suffered. So she sent her to Canada, to another son. And she was absolutely homeless, but the only place that she thought, the only house that belongs to her and nobody can take it away from her was the seat in the aeroplane. That was her house in the sky, which belonged to her. And these mothers, these tragic mothers, we can give many, many examples, of them. Even my own mother, I had a good apartment. When she came to Paris, I had 2 children, and my son, they had friends playing in their rooms, and I had guests in the living room where I had put a couch for her in the living room. So after a while, I said, "Where's mother? Where is she sleeping at this hour?" And I went, she was not with my son and not with my daughter. And I said, "My God, my mother has a pillow in a bathtub, and it really killed me. It was so tragic." And I said that, "No, you come, my guests are going, you stay in my bed, But although, I could afford, I was not in a, but Pomegranate lady comes from a village, far away village in Yazd. And her sons, they have gone outside, they have left her, and they are gone, mostly they go to Sweden, Sweden is a place that has accepted a lot of immigrants, at the beginning, very easily, not Paris, and the sons, they're in Sweden. So the sons, one of them is playing guitar, in there and making money. The other one, is a sort of a activist, political activist who believes that in another revolution, to come. So they send her money, they send her money and a ticket and ask her to come and see them. So she hasn't seen her children. She doesn't know where Sweden is. She has no idea. She talks to the wives of the village, and the wives of the village says that, oh, I've heard that, it is so cold that cows freeze, people freeze, everything freezes, and then that when you breathe, it freezes, and don't go there. And she says that, "Well, I have to see my children, and I will go no matter what happens. Even if I freeze to death, I will go." And so she comes to Tehran, and I met her in the airport, and she was asking everybody in the airport, "Where is Sweden? And where is the plane that goes to Sweden?" So then she came to me, and I look at her ticket, and I saw, oh, she has to come to Paris and change and go to Sweden. So I said, "Come with me." Maybe I made a mistake, because if I hadn't said, "Come with me," her destiny would have changed.
That story.
Yeah, that wouldn't be that story. Yeah, you're right.
But then what did she say about Sweden? I mean, she thought that the plane was like a bus.
Yeah. And then when she sat next to me, and constantly she said that, "Madame June, lady, please wake me up if I'm asleep. I'm afraid that, we passed the Sweden." And I said that, "No, this is not like a bus. It's not a bus station." She said that, please, be careful. We may not, we may pass Sweden, And I said, "No, I will help you. I will help you, and I send you to Sweden to your children." Which...
And she'd taken a lot of food with her.
Yeah, a lot of pomegranate.
Pomegranates.
Yes, pomegranate. A huge big sack. And she said that when tomorrow night, I make rice, and we make special ragu, I don't know, sauce with meat, chicken, with a pomegranate sauce. And she was saying, "Yeah, tomorrow night I'm with my sons, and we will drink, we'll eat, this fesenjan." Fesenjan is this special food made with pomegranate. Yeah. And last night I was talking, in New York, somewhere, at Norton, the celebration of 10th year of No Wars Without Borders, and they were extremely nice. They had made a punch with pomegranate juice and vodka, and called it Pomegranate Lady. Yes. So I thought, if I don't make any money by publishing books, no, I will go and make some liquor
We have
and
some
drink
T-shirts with
with this.
pomegranates on them, and then the punch.
Yes.
Pomegranate.
And if I go into the business of, making drinks,
You'll
with
be
this
fine.
label, maybe I get more money. But they were extremely nice, and they had pomegranate seeds on everything, even on the head of the people, I thought, at the end, because on the food, on the dessert, there's everything. So it was the celebration of Pomegranate Lady last night.